Hello, I'm Carol Gordon, Project Manager for the Catalyst Project at BookNet Canada. Thanks for joining me today for the 2022 update on what the Catalyst team has been up to for the past year and a look at what's on the roadmap ahead. I can say it has been another busy year, so I'm going to jump right into the update on the largest piece of development work that we took on in the last year. While the Catalyst team has been largely focused this past year on bringing our integration project with BTLF in Quebec to a launch-ready point. For those not familiar with this integration project that we've been working on, or what Memento even is, Memento is a project that BTLF has managed previously with Electre in France, and it has two key parts. So the first is bibliographic data for French language titles. So like Bowker in the US, the BTLF manages and standardizes collected bibliographic data from publishers and makes it available to subscribers for a fee. The second part is various data access points, primarily by web interface and API. And so through this partnership, BTLF will be moving the data access points from Electre platform in France to the BNC Catalyst platform here in Canada, giving us a unique opportunity to house both French and English titles in a single location for system users and consolidate our resources for continued feature development that serves the Canadian market. So Memento will be available via its own domain for subscriber access, but all Memento users will automatically also have access to any French or English data, publisher data in Catalyst as well, and orders can be submitted from the Memento side direct to reps on the Catalyst side. So it's a similar platform on both. It's all similar code base, same code base underneath, with two portals and access for French only on the Memento side, and then all the English data via the Catalyst side. Functionality, though, will mirror between the two sites so that there's a similarity in how things work in terms of training or learning how the system works and being kind of aware of what you can do in the two systems. So of course, the feature that we're working on for the Memento integration also have that value in application in the English market in Canada. And as development of those additions and improvements in the system have been completed, we've been rolling them out on the Catalyst platform throughout the past year. So many of the improvements have been focused around the site search functionality. Quick Search, which is the search box in the main navigation bar at the top, has had tweaks to include series titles in the index for ease of searching for items by series. The advanced search form has been updated to allow search by availability and other new criteria, and the results can be refined by more data points, including availability, theme of subject, and the product form detail. So for example, filtering by mass market or tall rack paperback. We've also added grid customization, grid column customization at the individual user level. So this is now on the catalog grid views as well as search results grid. And that's both for your online views and for the Excel and CSV export options. You can also now save those searches. So searches by subject category, ISBN list, ISBN prefix, titles added in the last number of days, or any other combination of available search parameters. So any search can be saved, quick search, catalog search, or advanced search. And then once you've saved them, those saved searches can be easily run by clicking the saved search link below the quick search. You can also then run, edit, copy, or delete those searches using the manage saved search page, which is what I'm showing here. We've also moved ahead some Catalyst only features this year, including pulling in stock availability and current prices from distributor files, position files. For the moment, this data is showing Canadian sources and it's available on the title detail page only. So we'll show all the sources and details that we have available, including prices and discount codes where we have them in the publisher data. Over 90% of the titles in the Catalyst system are from suppliers that provide us position files. We're chasing the remaining ones. And we're also now talking to system users about the usefulness of this data and other workflows that they use where it might be valuable to have this data available. The last feature I wanted to draw attention to today is accessibility data. This is another one that is available on the title detail page, just to the left below the main cover image. And it's a collapsible field, so you can hide that if you've got other data that you want to see there. But this is primarily affecting ebook listings in Catalyst, but in general, it's a great way to communicate in your ONIX data about the efforts that we're seeing that publishers are putting into accessibility features in their ebooks. So if you're doing the work of making your ebooks accessible, whether they're listed in Catalyst or not, tell people about it in your metadata. Again, there's some great blog posts on the BookNet Canada website with information on how to structure this in your 2.1, ONIX 2.1 and ONIX 3.0 files. Beyond just system features, we've also learned a lot this year in our work with BTLF about some of the differences in standards between the English and French markets in Canada. And I wanted to take a moment today to share some of those details. Firstly, the Quebec market runs fully on ONIX 3.0 data. So ONIX 2.1 is no longer supported. This isn't really unexpected with strong ties to the market in France, which has also embraced the ONIX 3.0 standard. This ONIX 3.0 requirement has also been a launch point for the long-planned Catalyst system upgrades to also begin supporting incoming ONIX 3.0 files fully, which we intend to complete this coming year. Though Catalyst will continue to support those ONIX 2.1 incoming files for the foreseeable future as well. Thema. So while BISAC remains the preeminent subject classification code system in English North America, Thema is the primary subject classification system in Quebec. So we've seen Thema adoption ramping up over the past year in the English data in Canada, and I'd expect to see that trend continue. But if publishers are looking at selling into Quebec, you'll want to look into supporting Thema codes to support those efforts sooner rather than later. If you're new to Thema, BookNet offers lots of entry points to learn about how to use Thema codes and how to provide them in your data. So there's blog posts and standards documentation available online on the BookNet Canada site and in our standards documents. We regularly work with Editeur in the UK, so that's the organization that manages the Thema standard, to offer training courses for Canadians. And we also worked with BISG in the US to build a converter between BISAC and Thema to help ease the adoption challenges. So you can find information on the BISAC to Thema converter at the link that I've got shown here at the bottom of the screen. And lastly, DOE is an expected data point. So libraries in Quebec are still mainly using MARC 21 for data exchange, but increasingly they're getting that data via a crosswalk from ONIX to MARC format. So MARC from the publisher ONIX data. So even on the English Canada side, we are hearing more demand for Dewey Decimal support in our own products as usage of the BookNet services by libraries continues to increase. So sales data and library data are in the process of adding Dewey Display from Bowker's data in those systems based on feedbacks from librarians who are using library data and sales data. Catalyst has already added support as part of the custom column work that I showed earlier. So we've already added support for an optional Dewey column in the grid views and exports. So we'd love to have more publisher data to populate into those columns for the English market as well as the French. feedback through our Catalyst user group has indicated that librarians find value in that data for the English books as well. And so a bit about what's ahead for Catalyst in the coming year. So I mentioned our full ONIX 3 transition plans already, but I wanted to look ahead at some of the planned upcoming features. So some of these we are working to finish that launch ready point in the near future with for the Memento side. And some of these features that we are working on are part of that. But we've also got some Catalyst requested features that are on deck as well. So we are also looking at building on the work in this past year on order features that we did. So we made some pretty significant changes to handle locations, for example, and make it a clearer submission process for the orders. So we're looking to build on that in regard particularly to improving the automated communications around orders placed or shared in the system. So part of the work we completed was in this past year was work on some in-system notifications for the orders that are sent to reps. So in January, we completed the in-system notifications. And so now we're looking at moving on to setting up some functionality to automate some of the email communications when orders are sent to reps. So we're just working on completing the requirements gathering right now, and we expect to be working on this feature very soon. One of the next new features that we have had requested by Catalyst users on the English side, as well as being requested by the French users for the upcoming Memento launch, is the ability to collaborate on custom catalogs. So currently a custom catalog can be created by just one person, can be viewed only by the specified recipients of that catalog, and there's no way for multiple people in an account to collaborate on the creation or management of those custom catalogs. So the feature that we're working on here will allow people to keep their custom catalogs private the way they are now, or open up the editorial process, give editorial access to the custom catalogs to everyone in their account. So we are also including in this feature some tools for account managers to be able to access and edit all of the custom catalogs within their own account to kind of help with the management of catalogs that are, say, posted to publisher pages or when staff turnover occurs. So we're pretty excited about this feature, and we've definitely got some excited users waiting for this one to arrive. The last major item that we have selected for development this year is the addition of a tool to add and manage FNGs, or just fold and gather, or kind of preview editions to traditionally design heavy books or children's books. So we already have in the system several sample file types that we support in interior images. So this feature is similar, but it's a little more complex in terms of having some permission management and access restrictions. And it'll also likely require some upload functionality, expiry date management, that type of thing. So this feature is still very much in the planning stages. Just to say that if you have thoughts about your own company's needs in relation to this feature, we're quite happy to take any comments or feedback that you might have that would be useful for us in terms of planning how we're going to build this feature out. And when I say that the FNG was the last, to clarify, this is not an exclusive list of everything, the only things that we will touch in this upcoming year. So we'll be continuing to work with our user group and from direct feedback from other clients to identify and prioritize other features and improvements that may be able to be worked into our plans for the remainder of this year or prioritized for coming years. So we're always happy to hear from our clients and system users about what's working well for you in Catalyst, what the system could do to make your tasks easier. So don't hesitate to get in touch with me or the support team at catalyst@booknetcanada.ca. Thanks for joining me today, and we hope to hear from you.